more of the youth population in a country means having an active and dependable workforce for industrialization. Beyond this, it also entails planning for the youth and engaging them in other areas of development, especially politics, without which they will feel dissatisfied and disenfranchised. Welcome to What Matters on 8 International. This week's episode x-rays youth participation in politics and the necessity for it. Our first segment starts with the challenges of youth participation in politics, followed by an interview with Dr. Nicholas Felix, the youngest presidential aspirant at the APC presidential primary. We also look at the relevance of youth participation in politics, and finally, the effectiveness of the not too young to run law. We'll be right back. The youth population is not only meant for labor input, it also requires engaging them in active politics. We examine the challenges of their participation in politics.
Politics is said to be some form of activity associated with making decisions in a group or relationship that engages individuals in the distribution of resources. When put side by side with governance, politics becomes the will of administering a state for a purposeful result. In Nigeria, the youths are considered to be between the ages of 15 to 35 years. They constitute about 33.6 million of the nation's population, which is estimated above 200 million people. Owing to this figure, in the future, these youths would have grown to be adults and would form the bulk of decision-making in society. Given these circumstances, youth participation in politics has been described as challenging because of the nature of politics in Nigeria.
The Nigerian politics is something different from African and other part of the world politics. The youth at the moment have no place in Nigerian politics because the democratic culture is not healthy. And the youth, so long as I'm concerned, they are like democratic orphans and widows with unsure future. Because if you tell me leaders of tomorrow, they are still leaders of tomorrow with endless future. And those who are participating are just floating without no basic destination. They are like a freelancer, on the streets.
Despite the huge youth population base, it is also reported that 73% of these youths who are eligible to vote and be voted for in an election do not run for political offices. This seeming lack of commitment has been blamed on the youths.
Because there are quite a number of them out there, they don't even know. All they believe is that it's a waste of time. They see it as if I don't have time to waste for all that game. So by the time you give them the awareness that voting is for you to choose a good leader that will move this country forward. Voting is all about good governance, whereby the entire citizens of this country will be in a better place to stay.
Another thing, one funny thing about some youth is that they feel politics is actually a bad game, it's a dirty game, it's not a place to go, especially, I'm so sorry, but the Christian houses, they feel as if when you go to that place, you necessarily become a sinner, and it's not actually true.
When one compares youth participation now to the First and Second Republics, it is obvious that the youths were given more political opportunities. They held more commanding positions than present-day youths.
If you take the percentage of youth participation in politics today, but you take the average as it has been before during those time of the Azikwe and the rest of them, is I can equally target as I give it a poor rate. I give it a very poor rate. Apart from the little position they give advisors and all of those things, and advisor doesn't have anything more to say than to advise, especially the head, maybe as a governor. Advisor can give you an advice, and you can decide to use it or not.
Money they have acquired so much wealth that they can suppress the youth. The youth doesn't have that cash to fight them. This is a mega challenge. They are using money to do everything. Look at the primaries now. Money, money, money everywhere. Well, youth doesn't have that kind of money to do that. So it's the money politics that they are using that is suppressing the youth now.
Other forms of challenge to youth participation in politics are the division along ethnic lines to clamor for national integration. Holding on to ethnicity cannot guarantee cohesion in a multi-ethnic society. Rather, ethnicity must be surrendered for a united and democratic society as the only avenue for youths to aspire to lead the country. Each day, there is an awakening of youth's political consciousness, evidenced that the youths desperately desire a better future.
If young people must be encouraged to participate in politics, they should be carried along in the political system. Like we should be able to have a lot of young people participating in the National Assembly, a lot of young people participating in governorship elections and in candidacy, and even, why not presidential?
I'll advise colleagues. I'm a comrade, I'm a leader, and I love politics as time goes by. So I'll advise my colleague youth to take their full part. So I use this medium to give it a shout out to my colleague youth. Please come out en masse and display your franchise rights.
The onus therefore lies with the elders to create a better atmosphere that will increase youth participation in Nigerian politics, because the future belongs to them.
The concern is real for young people, and they look forward to more opportunities in politics. Now, what is it like for a youth to participate in a presidential primary? Dr. Nicholas Felix shares his story with us.
The name Dr. Nicholas Felix is not strange in Nigeria's political arena. In the 2019 presidential election, he contested under the People's Coalition Party, PCP, and came third behind the People's Democratic Party, PDP. As a youth who had gone through the murky waters of politics of that time, Dr. Nicholas again ventured into the All Progressive Congress APC presidential primary in 2022. From New York, he spoke to us about his participation in that primary.
As we know, youth hasn't been participating a lot in politics, especially it's one thing to vote, it's another thing to be on the ballot to be voted for. I think right now the youth are beginning to get a sense of involvement, and that's why you see the frenzy going on social media. Youth want to get their PVC. I think in the next coming election, as we progress, youths are going to be dominating the space, not just voting for candidate, but to be on the ballot to be voted for. So the youths are waking up, and I'm glad to see that. So far, it has been it's an experience I will live to remember. As you know, 2019, I ran under a different platform, and I happened to have come third position in the general election. Of course, a lot of the things I learned, we had to implement in the 2023 election, one of which is knowing that these smaller parties do not have the structure to get you the desired results. So we had to pitch our tent with the All Progressive Congress. And getting to APC, of course, the dynamics is quite different. A lot that you have to do. And we saw that, of course, the platform is great, but there was so much stuff that were new to us, which, of course, we had to catch up with. And the bigger part has to do with the delegates. Trying to reach people you don't even know. At the beginning, we didn't even know who is the delegate. So many people coming to you and telling you they are delegates, meanwhile they are not. So that is another thing we've learned. How do we reach out to people when you don't have the relationship with them?
Dr. Nicholas also weighed on the major challenges confronting youth in Nigerian politics.
Number one is it has to do with resources. Youth participation, the resource aspect of it, we don't have it. Even when the nomination fee came out to be 100 million, you saw the way everybody backed out. If there were a few youths who were interested, how many youths can afford 100 million naira? That's over $100,000. It's not enough to pay for the expression of interest. You have to be able to campaign. Logistic alone in campaigning is mind-blowing. So that has been the limitation, and I believe that's why you haven't seen a lot of youth participation. And also, our political gladiators, they have always pushed us aside. Apart from the resources to get the job done, we have always been neglected. We have always been pushed aside. The only time they remember the youth during election is not for them to be just in their campaign trail. It's not for them to be in the administration. It's when they want to use youth for dirty jobs. And I'm glad that the youth are beginning to wake up. It's going to take a lot to get everybody involved. But majority of the youths are beginning to see that we are more useful than using us for dirty jobs. Not only should we go and vote, we have to also be voted for, because that's where we can make the desired change that the nation needs. So youth are waking up. And I can promise you, after this election, by the next time we're coming out, the next election, you're going to see a lot of youth participation. And the change will begin. Nigeria needs a change. Something just has to happen. We cannot just continue like this. It's amazing what is going on in our country. So as youth, we need to wake up, and I'm glad we are waking up, but we need to do more and make it fast.
When asked the rationale for agitation for a youth president when the United States of America has a president above 70 years, Dr. Nicholas's response was thus.
I'm glad you mentioned that apart from Clinton and Obama, I think was 47 years old, there about 47 or 48 when he became president. So the issue is not that now we have a couple of youths. I'm not saying we have to get rid of all of our political fathers, and it should never be said that the 70 years old was elected. That's not what we're even saying. We just want to have a fair chance. We want to start from 1993. We have not had a single youth that has been elected. And number two, you must understand the system here in America is working. If the system was working in Nigeria, I'm sure we would not be agitated. Right now, I couldn't have even come to run for office here in America because I feel the system is so perfect. How much will I have to contribute here? How much impact will I make? We can make impact in other ways, but Nigeria, the system is not working. We've been electing the same set of people, and yet we're not getting the result. Why don't we change? Let's give youth a chance. Youth that have vision, that have dream, that have stamina, that have the energy to be able to get the job done. So you really cannot compare America to Nigeria. If we want to compare America to Nigeria, let's compare with the economy. Let's compare with the safety. Let's compare with things that are working, and not just take Joe Biden be the president. Okay, let the youth be elected, and the next one, let an elderly man be elected. I think we can start from there. But right now, we have no chance whatsoever. No resources. We are being pushed aside. We have long years ahead of us. Some of these people don't have that amount of time. They're going to mess up the nation for us to clean up. We need to come together and get the job done.
As we note the increasing influence of social media in election campaigns by youth in Nigeria and Kenya, to what extent can this platform generate the required vote for those contesting elections?
As you and I know, the elites don't vote in Nigeria. Most of the people who are on social media don't vote. That's why you see the same people who have been in Nigeria all these years are just trying to get their PVC. You wonder where have they been all these years. You wonder where have they been all these months. So the people who actually stay on the line to vote in the villages, those that are in the towns, they don't use social media. Social media is good. It has its part. It creates awareness. My campaign started on social media. It was a single post I posted in January of 2018 that went on fire, and now we're here. So we're not going to downplay the usefulness or the need for social media, but the amount of response you get on social media does not mean you are winning the election. It's good to create awareness. It's good to pass information across, but nobody should count on social media for votes.
people say politics is for the elites and that the electorates are the youths. But this time around, the youths are demanding that politics should be made accessible to them. You may ask, of what relevance is it to have a youth participate at the top echelon of politics? This feature will tell us why.
There is an increasingly large number of young people in the world. They constitute an estimated half the world's population. Most of these young people reside in developing countries like Nigeria and are below the age of 30 years. Growing youth population provides a good opportunity if translated into reproductive paths, and this will create an integrated and inclusive society for all. Youth relevance in politics also means having young people engage in formal political processes and have a say in formulating today's and tomorrow's politics.
Because youth are the future of any nation. So, and youth has the energy in every aspect of life. Yes. In business, in agriculture, in human development, human power. Youth are the fronters.
They are the youths because they will be the leader of tomorrow. It's good. And based on what the elders are even doing, I advise the youth to join politics.
We involve in politics because youths are feature of every nation. So the participation of every youth in every political setting is very, very important. Because by the time youth participate in politics, it gives them opportunity to a kind of choose what their future will be. It gives them an opportunity to decide what their future is going to be.
If they don't participate, they won't be recognized. They will miss up. They will lose a lot of things. In fact, you don't know where Nigeria is going. Nigerian politics, you can't predict. But my prayer is that our youth, because they have large number, so I think we can help Nigeria, I believe.
But how can we get the youth to understand this relevance?
Increase participation by creating what we call socio-political awareness. We must drum what we call political consciousness, devoid of materialism in the mental brain of our populace. We should begin to learn that what will save us is when we begin to play developmental politics, politics that ensure that we utilize our capacity, that is our resources. There should be tendency for capacity utilization of our natural resources.
Building a stable and peaceful society will bring more youths into politics.
It is now done on the youth that we need to come out and be involved in this selection process and get a leader that will take us to where we are going. So that is why it is important, and that is why it is good. That is why what we are seeing today, everybody is happy, and we are looking forward to see the end of it. But what we are asking is that the government should not scuttle what the process that is around now. The process we are seeing now, the government should not frustrate it, because we know that if the election process goes well, it is the government. If it goes bad, it's also the government, because they have the machinery. Everything lies in their table. They are the one that controls INEC. They control the police. They control every other instrument that is being used for election process.
It will afford them the space to develop policies that are friendly to the youths.
The benefits are enormous. We hope to see more youth engagement in politics. In 2018, the Nigerian government signed a not too young to run law, providing opportunities for more youths to be engaged in politics. To what extent has this law benefited the youth? Let's take a look at this feature.
What do you see as the obstacle or challenges to this
A lot, I must say. Let's take the last election for the last primaries, for example, where most youth that are credible enough to run cannot afford the tickets, the cost of the ticket. I knew some tickets were going for 65 million, some for 50 million. That depends on where you're running. But the point is, most of these youths that are coming up, that are beginning to understand politics, that are beginning to care about the country, are actually looking at, most of them are businessmen. Most of them are doing their own thing. Some of them are civil servants. Where are they supposed to get such money to run? So for that part, the last primaries, we saw delegates being given money in dollars, $10,000, $15,000, and where's the youth supposed to get that kind of money from? And even if you see a youth, before even now, most of the youths that they saw with even laptops were being arrested, and now you see a youth putting out $10,000 to each delegate. I'm sure we'll be arrested. So again, the system had failed us when it comes to delegate politics. Price of tickets. In fact, even if we want to go as far as even after the primaries, and then I'm talking about consultations with people, the system is already broken enough that people are becoming so poor and so hungry that even when you tell them the truth and when you give them your manifesto, all they see is the money. And it's easy for the ones that have been in power to come in and flaunt money, and everybody's voting, and we saw what happened in Ekiti. And if you're not taking, I'm hoping, I'm praying to God that it doesn't happen in Osun, where people sell their votes, and this kind of things will stop, because those things, again, is cancelling out the not too young to rule, because these are young people coming up. They may not have the money for all that. They may have the intellect, they may have the willingness, they may have the zeal, but they may not have that kind of money to compete with these elderly ones that already have the money and are willing to spend to do whatever it takes to win the election. So those are some of the effects of the system on not too young to vote.
Okay, now, as a youth, what advice, in view of all that you have spoken about, what advice would you want to give to youth who aspire to go to politics?
Oh, okay. Done social media, done seminars, and we realized that no matter how, in fact, I had a post once that said it's either the leaders are not hearing us or we're not loud enough. For you to be loud enough, you have to get into politics. And I'm glad I noticed the turnout of youth in this forthcoming election. I was amazed. But there are innovative ways of doing things. Technology. Look at what youths are doing, even in SMEs today. Youths are beginning to accomplish things that even the government have not accomplished in years. Youths are putting the nation out there internationally. So if anything, I think, and I plead with anybody that cares to listen, that please, let's let the youth get involved. We're not saying the youth should take over everything. I am also running for Guba, for Rivers. The youth from the elderly, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to do is build a bridge and unite both parties. But let us do the work, and then they can sit and advise us since they are more experienced. That's what it is.
Okay, now, let's assume the new government comes in 2023.
Okay.
Now, what would you advise the new government to do in terms of getting youth involved? As is it an appointment, or how? What would you advise the government to do in order to carry the youth along?
Appointment is not enough. See what the youths are doing with sensitization with PVCs. In fact, this is the highest number of PVCs we've gotten. So I don't think appointments are enough for the youth. I think the next government should be the youth. I'm not saying get the youth. I'm saying the next government should be the youth. Let's get a different set of people. Okay, fine. Even if it's not the youth, let's get somebody new. Let's stop recycling leaders, because again, like I said, it's doing the same thing, expecting different results. And for those people out there, and I'm going to say this, your vote is your birthright. And that's why I went to PRP. PRP wasn't good enough to accommodate most of us that are just incoming. And they were able to guide us. I read their constitution, which was amazing. You know, so I don't think it has to be PDP or APC for you to win. And I'm really saying this to all youth out there. Go for any other party. Who knew what Labour Party would have been today, if not people, you know. After after Mr. Honorable Obi, that's Honorable. After Obi went to Labour Party, you know, he was able to create a brand from his name. In fact, Obi is now the platform, not even the party.
After the former Anambra State Governor.
After the former Anambra State Governor went to Labour Party, you know, he's been able to build a brand. Labour Party was one of those small parties back in the days. In fact, most states didn't even have that structure. But now, it's not just Labour Party being the brand. Obi is now the platform on which Labour Party is even running on. And so we can do all
Apart from reducing the age of contestants, the law has created awareness for including youth participation in politics, and we hope to see more young people getting involved in positive ways. This is how far we can go today. See you next time. Thanks for watching.